Hey, what's up, everybody? Gene Fetty with the Automotive Appearance Institute back at you with another episode of our All Access podcast. We are excited to be wrapping up 2024, heading into 2025. Super excited. Today, we have Mr. Mack Fetty, my son, my youngest, in for a little interview. So, Dylan, how are you today?
Good. How are you guys?
Super duper.
Heck yeah.
Pretty good day.
Yeah, Mac's a little nervous, I think. He gets a little nervous in front of the camera. Actually, he's kind of a natural. Go check out some of the social media at Dent Repair Now. Mac is our window tinter and apprentice PDR technician. So, Mac, welcome to the show. I think I know a lot about you. I've known you for a little while, like maybe your entire life. Anyways, give us a little bit of background. How did you end up in the automotive business? How did you get here?
All right. So what's up, everybody? I'm Mac. This is my first appearance on the podcast. So my background is, first, growing up, I was always around cars because of this guy right here. He always had a cool picture of a cool car he was working on or something like that. And then around my 15th birthday, 16th birthday, somewhere in there, I got a job at a body shop local here, and I was just a detailer. So I worked on just cleaning cars and seeing the guys work on the cars. And then one of the techs quit, and the boss asked me to just toss a bumper on, see if I could do it. So I gave it a shot and really liked it. Eventually stopped cleaning the cars and started fixing them. And then, got decent at that, got pretty good. It's like a puzzle piece. You can put a car back together. But then an opportunity came up to start working here and give dents a go. I went to MTE and really liked seeing all the guys that do it, what they do, the lives they live, and really got into it. So I decided to, maybe try my hand in it. Ended up, we got an opening for tinning and figured, okay, that puts me in the shop. And then if I'm in the shop, I can work on a door when there's no cars in here, just push, pull, whatever. And pushed a couple, pulled a couple, really liked it. And then I got some lessons. So now I'm just starting out.
Good deal. So let's go back a little bit, right? That's sort of your fast forward story. First, I want you guys to pay attention that he said he went to MTE. That was last year. So MTE 2024. And really got exposed to the industry. He got to network. Thinking back to our last episode, that was one of our tips to become a better tech, to grow, is to go network, go to MTE. So Mac went there, got to talk to people, and not just me, right? I'm dad, so it's always a different story coming from dad, right?
Always.
It's just
yes.
how it works. But he got to go out and really see what the industry was about and talk to other people from all over the country, see different things that people are doing. You should go to MTE, right? Their website is mte.live, and the dates are January 30th, 31st, and 1st of 2025. If you're thinking about getting in, if you're just dipping your toes, they've added an extra half day of education on Wednesday, the 29th, for beginners. Dylan, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, I thought I saw her going to her mic. Try to catch her cues. We just got done shooting a course. Teaser, stay tuned. We'll be talking about that later in the episode. I also, Mac, I think it's really cool how your brain works. Right, your granddad and your mom and your brains all sort of work the same way. And I remember when you came home from the body shop the one day, and you were talking, and it was when they moved you into doing some of the suspension work.
Oh, yeah.
And you looked under the car, and you were like, man, I love working on this. This is so cool. I can see how all the pieces work together. It is just like putting a puzzle together for me. Like I look at it, I see it, and I know exactly what I need to do. And that is a trait that not everybody has. And cherish that trait and lean into that trait and being inquisitive and understanding and seeing how things come together. That's a good thing to have. And Like, I just sort of wanted to point that out to everybody.
Funny enough, that was on that Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah, I remember it.
I did a full front end replacement on that Jeep, and that was 1 year ago yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I started that. I
That's
put
pretty
52 hours into that single car, just on suspension and some very slight body work.
Yeah.
That was the big one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's really cool that that's how your brain works. And the feedback from the shop was, sorry to the auto body industry that I scooped Mack out of there, because that body shop absolutely loved this kid. They loved how he worked, when you can get him out of bed and get him there on time. But once he's there, he works hard and he works fast and clean, and he's inquisitive and wants to learn, which is part of what is going to make him, I truly believe, a spectacular PDR technician, right? It's just how you're wired. So fast forward to coming into the shop, and really I want to talk about, you're right at the beginning, but I want to talk about journeying into PDR, right? Like that is, so for so many guys, and I don't know if you're aware, but for so many technicians, when I say guys, I mean guys and girls. I love that there's more women getting into the trades. So when I say that, it's an interchangeable term. For so many people in the reconditioning and even in the auto body trades, PDR technician has been placed on a platform sort of above everybody else. Like, it's a cool trade. It's almost like magic when you watch somebody do it. It pays really well, or it can pay really well. And everybody wants to be the dent tech. Like, the paint guy wants to be the dent tech. The body man wants to be the dent tech. The detailer wants to be the dent tech, right? And you were starting your journey into it. What is driving you to learn it? What's the driving factor in the back of your head that's like, man, I want to learn this. I think this is going to be cool. Where are you coming from?
And you're allowed to be honest.
So, obviously, I always like cars, working on cars. That's what I want to stay in, career-wise, permanently.
Right.
So that's one wheel of the car if we're talking about a drive.
Okay.
So the main drive is I like a challenge. So, like, anybody can put a car back together that they took apart, or, you basically get an instruction manual if you need it. You can do anything like that. This is more based off of the 20 dents I've tried to fix so far. This is more like an art. It's teaching your brain to do things you've never learned before, you've never tried before. So a challenge definitely helps drive me. And then also just, I've always been around probably some of the coolest people that are dent techs, and just the dent guy comes to the house for a business, whatever. Super cool guy. So I'd like to be like that.
Awesome. PDR techs are a rare breed. We are definitely built a bit differently. And PDR is challenging. So just like you said, like anybody really can take a car apart and put a car back together. There are instructions, right? Like, take these bolts, I'll get this 10 millimeter, but take this off, putting it back together. This clip goes here, retorque this to this many foot-pounds, this many inch-pounds, use this adhesive, right? It really is steps 1 to 20 and you're done. And window tint for you has been the same way, right?
Yeah,
you picked it up fast. It's a relatively simple trade to get into. PDR is reactive. So it is not step 1 to 20 and you're done. It is, here's these steps to get started, and then make your first step, and then see what happens. And then you go back and reevaluate again, and then do step 2 and reevaluate and see what happens and do it again, and keep repeating that process. It is the way your brain works. This is a good self-test for listeners or viewers of the show. If your brain likes to solve those kind of problems and constantly be in a problem-solving mode, PDR could be for you, right? Like, that's, again, I think you have some traits that I think are really going to benefit you in your journey into PDR. I think I've turned out to be a pretty good PDR tech, and I don't know that I had, ouch.
He's all right.
I don't know that I've had much innate talent in it. Like, I worked my ass off to build the skill set that I have. I think you're coming to the table mostly because you have an incredible teacher. But no, I think you're coming to the table with a different outlook and great hand-eye coordination. You've got a lot of stuff going for you. So at the body shop, you got to do some glue pulling, right?
Yep.
In your body work, you got to do some glue pulling. We even saved the quarter panel on your car.
Yeah.
Using glue pulling. You also, from one of the techs, shout out Jeremy in case you watch the show, has some push tools, so you get to push around a little bit. And you were proud of what you did, and I was proud of you for what you did there. But the difference between working in the body shop and playing with or practicing with glue pull and pushing versus coming here and actually starting to dive into learning the trade, what mindset shifts have you made, or what mindset shifts what mindsets do you think held you back at the body shop that you've worked through or you're working through here? What's that look like?
So what held me back at the body shop from, actually learning something in dents besides the very basics was having that parachute in the body shop of, hey, if I can't fix this, it's going to get mudded and then it's going to get painted and you'll never know what happened. So like knowing that I didn't have to make it perfect or even half perfect made me not really care how it came out. Like obviously I wanted to try, 'cause, my dad's a dent guy. I'm going to try and fix a dent, but I could never do it. I had like no guidance. And I mean, the guys there, they know some bit about dent repair, but they also have that, like, they have the parachute and they do the same thing where it's, if I can't get it good enough, it's going to get mudded, it's going to get painted and sent home perfect. But here, there is no parachute. Your parachute is yourself finishing that dent. So yeah, I mean, having the parachute and then losing that, you're kind of in a free fall and you got to catch yourself.
Right.
So it's, make it perfect or, you don't get paid.
Or you don't get paid, exactly. So like, I'm glad you said that, Mac, because really I'm talking to you, the body tech who's trying to learn PDR or trying to transition, or maybe not even transition into PDR, but you're trying to take your repairs to the highest level. So many body techs get stuck in that mindset of, well, if I don't get it, it's going to get mud anyways. Or if I don't get it, we'll just blend into the next panel, right? You're giving yourself those escape routes. I almost feel like when you do that, you're setting yourselves up for failure before you even get started. You're giving yourself an out before you even need an out, right? And you will not push yourself as far as you need to make things happen. That goes back to, I think it's from Sun Tzu, The Art of War, or something along those lines. There's a saying in the business world that's called burn the ships, burn the boats. The story is like a general rolls up to this island they're going to go conquer, and everybody hops off the boat to go fight, and he stops and orders the troops to turn around and burn the boats. Because if you burn the boats, you can't retreat. You can only win or die. And I promise you, if your alternative is death, you're going to fight harder than if you're like, oh, I just got to run back to the boat and tuck my tail and go home. If you say, well, if I don't get it, I can just mud it up and that's okay, you're not going to finish that dent. You're never going to push yourself far enough to reach into PDR. So let's move into how we're teaching you here, right? So at the body shop, you had some push tools from Jeremy. Shout out Jeremy again. And you had glue pull tools. We're training you different. I'm taking a different approach to training you here. And I'm training you starting with glue pull repair. Now, that being said, all of the other technicians I've ever taught in my career, we started first with pushing. One, because back in the day, glue pulling was the last thing we wanted to do. Like, it was a last resort. And then transitioning forward as glue pullers got better, I almost felt like, and some of the other trainers have felt like, well, glue pull could be just a crutch. And you'd be like, well, why would I learn how to push when I can just glue pull it, right? Well, you can't glue pull everything is why you need to learn how to push. Coming in, and you did a little bit of pushing here to play around and a little bit of glue pulling to pull around. Now that we're full on in training and I'm showing you how to see the nuances in a dent, I'd really identify the bottom of the low, the top of the high, and work through it. I want you to reflect back on the difference you're seeing in yourself between trying to push a dent out and trying to glue pull a dent out. What differences are you seeing as you're trying to learn? And especially now that, again, you're into the training, we're a couple of weeks in to your actual official PDR training. What differences are you seeing?
So the main difference that I'm seeing between trying to push and trying to pull is the wins. I did not finish a single dent pushing it because there was so much to do between getting that dent up and then getting that high back down before it was flat, and I was given the A-OK, and that's a good looking dent, and that's fixed. I never got it to either one of those points because, one, I didn't even learn how to see or know what I'm looking at yet. I was still learning what a high looks like and what a low looks like in the light. So pushing really made that challenging because I thought I knew what I was doing. Not knew what I was doing, but I had an idea of, how to push a dent out. But it is very, very, very particular in placement and pressure and how many pushes you can do here and here, where to start, where to stop. But I could never really figure it out. And then finally got some training with this guy, and he showed me how to glue pull a little bit. And that completely eliminated step one, which is getting the dent up. It completely eliminated it because it's pretty easy to learn how to place a tab. Granted, it's not the easiest thing, but it's a whole lot easier to drop a tab, figure out what size, drop a tab in that dent, and then just figure out where to move it to. And then you're pretty squared up on the dent, and then it's a matter of finishing the dent. You might make a couple pulls, a couple pull, knockdown. But it is a lot easier to focus on the little things when there's not 20 different big things. When there's two or one big thing that you have to get back down, much easier than having 20 tool marks from a push tool that you don't know how to use. So glue pulling to start, I think, is the best way to go because it teaches you, teaches you to see, teaches you to knock down, see what's low, high, flat. It's the only things it can be.
He's taking notes. I like it.
A little bit. Yeah.
So that's good. So the big thing there, there's a few big things there. My belief in glue pulling being the best way to start working into PDR, it simplifies everything, right? When you're trying to push, just like you were trying to explain there, when you're trying to push, you're trying to do so many things. You're on overload. You're trying to learn to see. You're trying to do this, and your brain is going crazy, and you can't focus. It's in chaos. And I really think that's a big reason why so many people fail at trying to learn PDR. The other one is those quick wins. When you're losing all the time, it's hard to stay motivated, right? If you start to play a game, right, or even if we took little leaguers, right, and then said, hey, you guys are going to learn how to play baseball, and we took them up to the high school level, and we said, all right, high school team, you're playing this little league team that's never played before, but don't hold back. Yeah. Just go all out and see what happens. Every kid on that little league team is going to quit because you just lose. And you can only be beat down so many times, right, before you throw in the towel. Yeah. By starting with glue pull, by working this direction, dude, we're giving you wins on day one. Our first day of official training, I gave you a pretty good, let's call it a quarter-size dent. And in under an hour, you had that dent. If you remember, I remember because I was proud dad moment, proud teacher moment. You had that dent to for sure wholesale quality, for sure. Mm-hmm. And probably retail quality for most customers. If I think back to when I was going to PDR school, or if I think, or not even at school, because I didn't have any wins like that at school. To take a dent that size to that level, honest to goodness, I probably spent 6 months. 6 months of trying to learn how to push. Now, I went to a training I came back and I was basically on an island by myself and trying to learn alone. I didn't have that over the shoulder instruction. But to be able to take a new student, right? Because you admittedly weren't good. You had never finished a dent that far. You couldn't even see what you're trying to finish. And to take that size dent to a billable quality, not just on day one, but like on first half of day one, like we went over some theory, went through this, like by lunchtime, you're able to take a dent like that to a high level. Yes, you have got a win right out of the gate. Going back to those little kids learning to play a sport, man, if they go out and they're getting hits and they're catching balls and they're making throws, they're excited. They want to keep going. On top of simplifying it, and it's something that I hadn't thought of, seeing you get those wins is going to help you stay in it. Like that just reinforces more my thoughts on, like, one, we're leading you down the right path, but two, we're setting you up for success.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, granted, glue pulling, I've been doing it a little bit now. Not much, but I've taken some losses. There's been more wins than pushing, but I have not finished every dent to wholesale or retail quality. There's been some where I had them come in the shop and I was like, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing, which is okay. Like, I mean,
which,
it's okay.
Side note for you parents, that is hard to get an 18-year-old to admit that they don't know what they're doing. But we just did it. We have it on camera. We got it on audio.
Whatever.
Dylan uploaded this to the cloud. We have evidence.
Put it in the Dropbox.
That's right. But it keeps you humble.
Yeah.
I promise if we were just teaching you pushing, your losses that you're talking about, it would be more losses and worse losses. Mm-hmm. And these are just struggles. And really even the dents that Mack thinks he's doing poorly on are approaching wholesale quality, again, right from the beginning. And we're working on teaching you how to see. You're already seeing. We were filming a course in the studio here yesterday, and Mack was back here busting my stones, looking at some real small, I mean, almost imperceivable flaws. I'm setting you up here, good son.
Yeah.
Some really small flaws on a door. And Mack's like, Dad, you don't see that? I'm like, I do see it, but it's not that big. And he's like, I don't know. It looks pretty big to me. So already we're seeing his eyes and his vision develop. It's really cool. How much different are you seeing now? How much different are you looking at things just over the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's huge. So first thing I actually want to talk about is I could not see anything that he would talk about. That first dent we did, he was over my shoulder telling me that's high. I didn't know what he was talking about. I had him mark it. I tried everything just to see it, and I still
we even
could
remember
not
we
see
pulled
it.
the cameras out, the camcorders, and brought the big screen out to take that little flaw that I was seeing and put it on the screen and take something that's a millimeter and make it a half an inch. Mm-hmm. And then you were like, oh, I can see it. Yeah. So that's a good. Let's transition into some of these tools you're using and what you think about them. And this tool here, I don't remember what you're calling it, but it's actually called the monocle. I believe you can get it through Kiko. It is a really, I can't remember who designed it. Sorry to whoever made this. It's designed as a teaching aid. So it's like a giant magnifying glass that lets you see, see just like a magnifying glass. But because of the angle of the glass, you can actually look through. I can look through this side, and Matt can look through this side, or the student can look through this side. And the way it refracts to the middle, you're both essentially getting the same view. So as a learning aid, right, something that new students might want to think about picking up, how are you using this, and what's it allowing you to do?
So this is by far the best thing that I've found to use, the best tool possible. So I couldn't see anything. And then we went and we did talked about, cameras.
So when Mack is saying he couldn't see anything, what he's talking about is as the dents get smaller, right, and you're trying to push towards paintless, the very nuanced details are small. So when he's saying he can't see, what he means is he can't yet identify the nuanced differences in the panel that, as a seasoned technician, right, we walk up and look at it and it's plain as day to us. So that's what this is helping you see.
Yeah. So, excuse me for misdirecting there.
That's all right.
But so this really, I mean, if you're working on a door, which I would assume you should start with, It's what I started with. It's what he told me to start with. So starting with a door, you want to work. I mean, for me, what I've learned is just put a dent in 8 to 10 inches off the edge of the door. You know, get on a little kneeler pad and set this monocle right on the edge of the door. Split the difference between your face and the dent. You want to put this right in the middle. And once you get to the end, towards the end of that finishing process, it just shows everything. That light that your eyes have never seen, you're looking at the orange peel almost. And I mean, you can see orange peel, but you can't see the imperfections in it. This right here will teach you to see through the orange peel, basically. And whenever you start to see it with this, I started just pulling it out of the way. I would find what I needed to fix, pull it out of the way, or just take like a mental note of what this showed me, and I would just move it away and try to find that and recreate that picture without the enhancement from that. And that was super beneficial to just, I mean, not every dent guy uses one of these on every job they do. So, you know, it's just not realistic. So you should probably start with this, but have that teach you what you're looking for. Yep. Find it in there and then find it with your eyes.
Yeah, that's a great tech tip. Dylan, you have a question?
Yeah, I was just about to let you guys know the monocle is available at kikotabs.com for $219.95.
Perfect. What is a great tool to use. And take note of how Mack said he's using that. At first, he's using it to see even what's going on. And then as he is progressing, as he's learning, as he's strengthening and teaching his eyes, identify the low or the high, like identify the flaw, pick it out, make that picture in your head, and then flip this out of the way, and then challenge yourself to find it in the light, because I promise it's there. This is just making it more obvious. Yeah. So Mack, that's a great tip. Tool number one is the monocle, available at kikotabs.com. Awesome tool. What else do you have on your list here? What's up next?
So what's up first, actually, before I should have even talked about that, is a dent maker. Now, you might not go and buy this tool.
You can't buy that tool.
You can't buy this tool, and you might be able to buy something similar, but you might not. Find something that is not sharp edges.
Correct.
Doesn't leave little imperfections more than just the dent, like a golf ball.
Right.
So making a perfect dent makes a perfect repair when you're starting. You know, obviously there's going to be weird hits and there's going to be weird jobs as you go down the line and get good, but that's only because that's what the customer requests. This, you're just learning. So make a perfect dent.
So this hammer is available. The part that Mack is talking about is the blue end, this big ball. That is a dent maker from Kiko that some of us original trainers got. Something you could swap this out for would be like a billiard ball, or maybe a croquet, not croquet? Cricket?
Something like the cricket, I think.
No, not cricket, croquet.
Croquet.
Is that where you
I don't know.
Play that in the yard? Anyways,
hit it with the hammer.
Big round ball to make a dent. Golf balls, something like the ball on the back end of this hammer, they're going to make too small and too tight of an impact. You want something that spreads it out. Another option, and I don't have it had it here earlier when we were shooting, the red slapper from Kiko is a soft, almost pass-through. The red slapper plus ball peen hammer will give you a good soft bottom round dent. And the mantra I use with teaching and with learning and doing stuff like this is not practice makes perfect. It is perfect practice makes perfect. And using a dent maker like this allows you to make perfect damage, to apply and practice your perfect theory, which in turn will allow you to put that all together. And when you come to real world damage, put all of that perfect practice into play and adapt to real world. So what's up next on your list of tools here, bud?
Yeah, so after we make the dent, we got our identifier. So this is just a standard little three-bar dent light. So it's just nothing too fancy about it. You don't really need anything that special. You just need to be able to see.
Well, it does need to be a PDR style light. You can't just you can't run to Lowe's and grab a light off the shelf.
Yeah.
So who makes that one, Mack?
So this is a Stuckey light. I actually know Carl Stuckey. Shout out to him. Great guy, love him, great family. So it doesn't have to be special. It's a PDR light, but any PDR light,
Yeah.
as long
you
as
have
it
to
can
have
show you a dent, you can learn with it.
Exactly.
So you can have a little suction mini 3 light like this, or you can have a light on a stand.
Yep.
It's going to teach you basically the same thing. Being able to see is the most important part. So get a light. I can work with this little 3-bar or a stand light. I personally prefer a stand light.
Yep. Me too.
I like that you have that much movement, and it's huge. They're very bright, so you get a lot of fog to work in. So any PDR light you can learn with, just see what works better for you.
Yep.
Maybe grab one of each, and if they're not the nicest ones, start with them. So
just remember, you can't fix what you can't see. You have to have a light.
See.
If there's a secret sauce to PDR, it's simply that we use a light and we can see exactly what we're doing. That's where the magic happens. So what else you got here, bud?
Yeah, so next, this is just a glue gun. This is
Trifecta. Yeah.
Trifecta PDR tools. This is, I don't know if this is basic or advanced or what, but
It's a pretty good gun.
Excuse me. This is just a nice glue gun. It works. You need a proper PDR temperature glue gun. I don't know what the temperature is. He'll tell you right now.
190 Celsius, 380-ish Fahrenheit.
All right, get a gun that can do that.
And also, right, so don't go to the craft store and get the cheapy guns.
Mm-hmm.
The nozzle on this is better. You're not going to make a mess. You're not going to burn yourself. And these things are meant to last for ages, right? You're going to burn through those cheap guns and spend more money than you would here. Now, when you're learning, you don't have to buck up and go cordless. Mm-hmm. You can get plug-in versions of this gun. AnsonPDR.com is where I would head to and get one of the TEC guns. In fact, I think TEC might be the manufacturer for Trifecta is Anson, TDN back in the day, which is now Kiko UK, and James Lee. It was 3 companies came together to make this, but this is based on a TEC gun. So buy a TEC glue gun. They're the best going that I've found so far.
Yeah. So going with the glue gun, one thing that I just remembered that I was actually making a huge mistake on, but I learned and has helped me immensely, is you don't need as much glue as you think you do to put a tab on a dent. So I was covering the whole tab and then making a mess trying to drop it into the center. Because I've seen guys and they use the drip coming off of the tab to find center.
Right.
Mine was dripping before I got it to the door.
It was so
dripping
full?
in my hand. It was so full. Because I didn't know I don't know how much to put on there.
But you do need enough glue.
Don't
short on the glue, but don't go hog wild.
Yeah, but on little, I don't know, what?
Size of a pea.
12 millimeters down to as small as you can use. You really need basically just a little mountain on top of the center of the shaft. So you have the face of the tab, and when you're looking at the bot, like upside down, the shaft, you can see it in the middle. Yep. Make sure you cover that, mount it up a little bit. That's all you need. Just a P down just to cover the shaft. That's it. Yep. And that helps so much because you can
helps
find
your
center.
Accuracy.
Yeah,
right.
And it's not just a mess trying to find its way down. I was missing the dent all over the place because my tab would hit the panel. Got so much glue it's sliding around. So start small. And if you don't use enough glue, if it's not covering the bottom of the tab, just take it off and then re-glue
Put it on again.
Yeah.
I like it. Dylan has another question.
What glue have you been using?
So I've been using this Purple Perfection.
Mm-hmm. Who makes that?
Anson
and
Dent Reaper.
That's right.
I knew that.
Learning,
Dylan didn't help me at all.
I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely
not. Purple Perfection was sort of my go-to hail glue all summer. It's a great all-purpose glue. I've heard guys pull in with Collision. I stick with the Collision glues there, but it's a great glue. And John with Dent Reaper and the Anson family are spectacular people. So obviously no problem supporting them. So good stuff. Less about the glue though, and more about following the whole process and making sure you're hitting your steps, the tab's clean, and you're getting rid of the humidity and placing it in the right spot and pulling at the right temperature. So that's for a class though, not for a podcast. We got a few more tools left, sort of getting to the wrap up here. What else you got?
So next we got a lifter. This is a Robo Lifter.
The Robo Lifter.
Robo Lifter from Kiko. This is, it gives you so much control. You can go get a slide hammer and rip these tabs off, but you will have a harder time than working with this lifter because you get your tab set and everything, and you want to see what that metal is doing when you're lifting it. So this has so much pull in it, if you can see that. It has so much pull that you can finish your pull without popping the tab off. That is like a really, really cool thing to see and learn, that the metal bounces back. Like, he has a great analogy for that, where you over pull for it to lay down lower. And this is so much nicer than a slide hammer, in my opinion, because you have that play. You can make 2 or 3 pulls before the dent's up, but at least you didn't over pull it like crazy, and then you're fighting a giant mountain of a high spot to come down.
So what's easier to do? Pull up a little bit or knock down a giant high spot?
Oh, it's so much easier to make another pull.
Yes.
Just take your if you think you're there, take your tab off while it's still glued on. Just remove it. See what you got. If it's still low, just maybe downsize a little bit and give it another pull. And it's so much easier than having a penny of a high spot. Like a penny-sized high spot is no fun to knock down. I've done it. I hate it. It's not fun.
I think Mack has been paying attention in class. This is good. And the Robo is my preferred go-to mini lifter for sure. There's plenty of other great mini lifters out there. I love the mini lifter the best. It's part of the system. My big favorite part, especially when you're learning, is what Mack's talking about, and that's that gap in between the feet where you can really look through and see your light and watch exactly what the metal's doing. So good deal, bud. All right, what else?
All right. Final thing involving glue is these adjuster tiers from Dental.
I don't know if you can buy those anymore. That's a cool throwback bottle. I think Dave may have given that to me. But the little dropper bottles are great. You can get them. Hudson with tornado tabs, Dent Gents, has a bigger dropper bottle. But the dropper bottle is nice because you're not making a mess with tons of alcohol. You're not wasting as much alcohol. And when you're learning, like we've got you circling your dents, so you know where to go back to. You can clean this off without messing up your circle around your dent.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Like, I've been using a sprayer until yesterday, and it was very aggravating actually to spray off. Maybe I'll make a couple pulls in a row, but then I start losing it on my last couple pulls. I start losing it because I'm wiping my Sharpie mark away every time. And until you can really find what you're looking for and see it without having to find it, it's just what your eyes go to. These definitely help because the little dropper, all you're doing is getting just enough on there to pull your tab up and you're good.
Yep.
So I would recommend these against a spray bottle to start out.
On small tabs. If you're doing big collision pulls, not the answer. Go with the bigger one for sure. And there's a magnet in them, so that's kind of nice for keeping it from rolling off the panel. What knockdowns you got here, bud?
All right. Excuse me.
You all right? You need a drink?
Yeah, I'm all right.
All right.
All right, so dude, I'm dying over here. Excuse me.
That's the worst when you get that frog stuck in your throat. I remember I was out with Kiko, me and Chris White were out, and we went to Lucid to their training center in, I don't know, maybe San Diego or somewhere, San Jose, somewhere in California. And we jump up, and I'm teaching the class, and I start talking, and I could feel this frog coming. And it was right after COVID, I think, is when we were there. So everybody's like all worried about a cough or anything. And I start talking, and I can feel this frog coming in, and then it's like dry as a desert. And I'm like, I can't. It's not COVID, but I can't make words. Oh. And they're like running to get me a drink. It was awful. I'm trying to not stumble. I'm trying not to cough. Right, because everybody's like, oh, you coughed, maybe you're going to kill the world. But I just had a dry throat from talking, probably from being in the more arid air than we have here. So anyways, back to the knockdowns, bud.
All right, so we'll talk about it this time. So first thing is I would say try a couple of different knockdowns. Grab, I don't know if they sell little kits of different tips, sharpness-wise.
Yep.
Maybe grab You could honestly do it with just one interchangeable knockdown handle and one little set of these tips. I mean, like, I really like how broad this one is. I'm not positive on who makes this specifically.
I think that might be a tequila. So that's a VIP handle. The blue is a VIP handle. I think that's a 2.0. And those, I want to say those are tequila tips. If they're not tequila, they're Dead Dent tools. Both of them are available at Anson. And you can get variety packs of tips. So you can buy one interchangeable tip knockdown and do that to work through. But since we're in a shop and I'm a knockdown junkie, there's tons of them here. What else you got?
So thankfully, since he has so many, I've had the chance to test them out. But I have found that getting 2 knockdowns for any of these beginner dents that you want to start with, these nice, perfect circles, soft, medium dents, finding 2, like I personally prefer these 2. Specifically, this is a Kiko
That's
knockdown.
the root beer, yeah, the Kiko root beer.
This is great because it's all acrylic or plastic, whatever. It definitely helps with softer hits, and it's pretty broad sharpness-wise. So this will knock down a huge high, and it could even take you to a finishing level. But this is my starter. My first couple pulls, whatever high spots I have, they're going to be bigger. So I start with a more broad knockdown like this. And then as I get to my more finishing stage, this is a VIP.
That's like the original VIP, but it had a limited edition leather wrap from the PDR Expo last year. But it's essentially an original VIP with the leather wrap. But there's plenty of VIP style tips out there. Yep.
Yeah, so you can find more like this for adjustable knockdown
Yeah, you can get a screw on. You can get a screw on VIP tip also.
Yeah, but this being all metal, which you would still get out of these interchangeable handles, this being all metal makes a really nice, solid hit, no matter if that's a hard hit or a very soft hit.
Really small, concentrated hit.
Yeah, concentrated, but you don't lose your shock throughout it, really. Like this, it's acrylic. You're losing most of your hitting power as it goes through, kind of. Mm-hmm. It's not hitting as hard as metal, obviously.
It's a softer hit, right? Yeah. Softer impact.
But if you are, for me at least, when I'm at the very end, little hard to find little highs, this thing is just absolutely perfect for me because it's such a small little face on it. It hits super, super accurately, and you don't have to hit it hard. You're just tapping it. I mean, that's going to do more than you would think it would do to those little tiny highs. So I would personally say find 2 that you're comfortable with, and there's no need to get 20 different knockdowns to fix one dent. There's really no need.
At least not right out of the gate.
Yeah, at least not starting.
I have 20 knockdowns, but I like knockdowns a lot.
At least 20.
Well, maybe more. So you just said you like a light knockdown. What's this you got in your hand?
So this, I was never told what this is called or who it's from. Leave that up to him.
That's right. So this is, we're going to call it the Stinger. This is a paddle that I've been working with Anson on since this summer, maybe even spring. For years, I've been looking for a really light paddle. I've got a very specific technique that I like to knock down with, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I finally went to Craig at Anson, and I think when we were down there for our glue pull training around the open house, fast rewind, MTE of 24 is when I took it to Christina, and she's like, I'll get with my dad, we'll get with Craig, and we can get this ball rolling. I've been looking for a really light, strong paddle, and that is what the Stinger is going to be. I don't know that they're going to be out by MTE, probably just after MTE, but keep an eye out because when you buy one of those from Anson, it's going to come with a free class from AAI showing you exactly how I use the Stinger for my Stinger technique. So that is that. So that is my little paddle that we're working on with Anson. I think it's damn near perfect. Maybe I should have called it the perfect paddle, but I didn't want to step on Mark's toes with the perfect pull and confuse people.
Yeah, so I actually really like this. Now that I know that he made it, I might not like it as much, but I do like this quite a bit as of now.
Thanks, bud.
I'm
I love
just
you.
joking.
I love you too.
I actually really like this. It's super comfortable in the hand, and you can get super comfortable with the length of it because, I mean, most of the time you're not staring at the top of your knockdown to hit it. So once it has such a decent sized face on it, I mean, you can hit anywhere and you're still going to hit your knockdown without looking, which gives you more focus on your dent.
Yep, little great margin of error.
Because if you're looking away, first of all, if you can't see, if you're struggling to see and you're just learning, the last thing you want to do is look away and find it again. So if it's something you can lock on and just, move your head up and down looking at it, but you don't have to worry about it, this thing's really nice. And it has leather and then exposed wood. So I don't know if it's proper or not, but I like working both sides.
That's why we made it out. So it's made out of purple art. That's why we made it out of such a hard wood. Because your softer woods get all tore up when you strike wood to knock down. We're really giving Dylan a lot of anxiety. I think the episode's going long and she's freaking out a little bit. She's like, it's a really long episode. We should wrap this up. Is that what I'm seeing on your face, Dylan?
I mean, no, we're like coming up on an hour.
That's all right.
No,
I had a 3-hour PDR 20 group meeting last night, almost. It was like 2 hours and 47 minutes. So I'm just feeling talky this week. It's all good. It's all good. So, Mack, sort of to wrap it up, so we don't talk everybody's ear off, what advice would you give to someone looking to start to transition and to start to learn PDR? What would be your advice that you would give them?
When you think it's good enough, it's not. Keep going. Back up and look at keep your light in the same spot, and you back up. And you will see how bad it actually looks. It is still high, I promise you. So whenever you think you're done, try looking at it from a new direction.
You're not done. I like it.
That is the number one key advice.
Be picky.
There. Yeah, be super picky.
Very cool. Yes, Dylan.
Can I ask Mac a question?
Of course.
Away.
Okay. What is a long-term, or what is a goal that you have for 2025 that is PDR related?
A goal for 2025.
What's something that you want to complete by the end of 2025?
Well, I'm hoping to be a tech on my own by the end of the year. I think that's pretty doable.
Very doable, yes.
I think I'm planning by the end of this spring, early summer, I'll be going with Louis, our tech, on route, going to do some wholesale work at body shops and dealerships.
Yeah.
But hopefully towards the end of summer and mid-fall, I'll be able to do that on my own or work here and in the meantime get some cars done here.
You won't be working here in a retail shop, buddy. That's not how it works. You're going wholesale.
Well,
we'll get
when
you out on the road. But I don't know. That being said, the way you're glue pulling these dents and making these finish, maybe I stand corrected and you'll be in here soaking up all my gravy and making me fix the hard stuff.
Who knows?
Dylan has another question.
Follow-up question for Gene Fetty. What is a goal that you have for 2025? This is our last episode of 2024, so I'm trying to...
It is. So my biggest goal for 2025 myself is to continue to push AAI with education and have my pushing income, my dent repair income, replaced with education income in AAI. That's we are focused and pushing to push more education out to the world and make better technicians, make new technicians. That's my number one goal that I'm working towards in 2025, without a doubt.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Dylan, I have a follow-up question.
No.
What is your big goal for 2025?
Freaking graduate college, man.
That's not really a goal. That's almost guaranteed. So I'm going to challenge you.
I still have to work at it.
I'm going to challenge you to an less automatically attainable goal.
Okay. I wasn't prepared for this. I don't get asked questions. I ask the questions.
Hey.
I wasn't prepared. You got to do it now.
Okay. Well, I think one of the goals that I have in connection with AAI is to also create a couple courses. So hopefully we'll get some social media or video content creation courses out in 2025. I'm hoping to get at least like 2 to 4. Crossing fingers.
No, there is no hope. There is do. or do not.
Do or die.
You're going to make it happen. So keep an eye out for some courses coming out from Dylan inside of AAI to make you better at promoting your business. So, guys, a couple calls to action before we wrap up the show. If you're interested at all in the PDR20 group, curious about what the PDR20 group is, head over to pdr20group.com and fill out the application. I would love to talk to you about the group. Coming up on January 9th, we have a free glue pull repair webinar, 7 p.m. Eastern time. What that is going to be is, think if we were to come to your neighborhood and set up at a body shop and talk about what is possible with glue pull repair, show you what is possible, walk through the process, sort of show you the process. That's what that webinar is going to be all about. To sign up for that, for early registration, autoappearanceinstitute.com/ you're never going to guess webinar. Real original. But anyways, get on the list. Seats are limited, so get on, register, and save your seat so we can get you in there. And if you have questions or things you would like to hear covered in that and you're planning on attending, send us a direct message or an email. We're happy to, if we can, add that to the agenda for the show. We already mentioned it, but MTE 2025 is coming up. It's going to be here before we know it. January 30th, 29th if you're a beginner, 31st and 1st at the Gaylord Palms in Orlando. I am talking unfolding large damage with glue pull repair Thursday morning at Education Day. Thursday afternoon, we are bringing back the Shop Owners Roundtable. Myself, Matt Moore, Christopher Ray, Corey Kleinfeld, and Dave Detlaff will be dropping knowledge on you of how we operate our businesses and grow. That's going to be great stuff. And it wasn't really planned, but this episode really leads us well into what we are dropping next out of the Auto Appearance Institute, and that is our introduction to PDR through GPR, right? Just like a lot of the stuff that, like, I couldn't have coached him better. I mean, I didn't coach him, but, like, I couldn't have coached you better. Learning what I truly believe is the best path into PDR is learning through glue pull repair to begin your journey there. That class will be live, maybe even by the time this episode drops, because I think this is dropping on the 30th. Dylan says, yes, it's going to be a go. You will be able to sign up there. We will have a banner on the front page of the website, autoappearanceinstitute.com. What were you going to say, Mac?
I was going to say, I watched him film that class, and the lesson in that class is almost to a T exactly what he told me in our little training session we had. Just the one basic training that I have been working on for 2 weeks,
2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
About 2 or 3 weeks, I've just been working off of this one training, and it's almost identical to what he just filmed. So yep. I would check that out for sure. It helped me immensely.
Yep, absolutely. And it is totally learnable via video, right? You do not need to travel for this. It is, we don't have the finished video edited yet, but I think it's going to be a couple of hours, right? That will have you up to speed, repairing dents, I really truly believe, on day one. Of course, you can always follow us on social media at Auto Appearance Institute, everywhere that we post. That's just about everywhere but LinkedIn, really. And we need to get better at that, but it's just not.
I hate LinkedIn.
It's just It's just not my jam. All things Auto Appearance Institute at autoappearanceinstitute.com. And wherever you are listening to these podcasts, please go leave us a review. We want to hear what you guys are thinking of the show, and that helps us reach more people. So, guys, until next time, have a wonderful Happy New Year, because that should be like tomorrow, I think, or Happy New Year's Eve, whatever. We're close. And I will see you next year. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.